Hey, Sean, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. This game features two of the most interesting, exciting wide receivers in the NFL right now. And we know the ways that Cooper and Debo are different as players. But as a guy who has a great respect and appreciation for high-level offensive play, what are some things that stick out to you that are similar in the way Cooper and Debo play football? And then what makes them special?
I think they're great football players that are complete receivers. You know, they're obviously both really dynamic with the ball in their hands. Some of the things that Debo does when he's lined up as a running back is really special stuff. I mean, this guy's he's a great football player that when the ball's in his hands, good things happen. He can separate, he can line up anywhere on the formation. Cooper's very similar. We're just not giving him carries from the dot and from the offset gun, but he's, part of our blocking surfaces. He does so many different things. I think you're talking about, two well-deserved first-team All-Pro players, two guys that have been instrumental in getting their teams to where they're at. And I got tremendous respect for Debo, and I'm so appreciative to be able to work with a player like Cooper Kupp.
Jordan?
Sean, just wondering if we can get an injury update from you.
Yeah, so, we were kind of just, kind of a mental walkthrough today, but No Boom did not participate with his pec that I mentioned to you guys the other day. Great gains with his toe. He should be okay, though. It's just kind of, just being smart with him. And then Van Jefferson, being smart with his knee, but he should be okay. And then Buddy Howell, Taylor Rapp, and Andrew Whitworth were limited.
Would you expect Andrew Whitworth to stay on track for Sunday?
I would, yes.
And Taylor Rapp, would you expect him to practice fully, thus being able to clear that final step in the protocol?
Yeah, I think we're with that type of situation, Jordan, we're just taking that a day at a time right now.
Okay, thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Dennis?
Coach McVay, implementing the Mamba periods, have that been really effective as far as helping your ball club overall?
How'd you know we did that? Huh?
It's a guess.
That's, you know what? It actually started, when he passed, and there's so many players and coaches that just admired the way that he carried himself and what he was as a competitor. And actually, kind of talked about it with Staley when he was here, and I think just implementing those competitive periods where things get ramped up a little bit, where you just pick and choose your spots. Once you get later on in the year, you can't go full speed all the time, but when you do get a chance to kind of sharpen one another, we felt like that was a good opportunity. And we do those Mamba periods throughout the course of training camp and earlier on, and then we have one a week, and it's a good way to kind of just ramp up the competitiveness and heightened sense of urgency and awareness that we're looking for on Thursdays, which usually ends up being our heaviest work day of the week.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.
Claudia?
Hey, Sean, we saw in the game the Niners play against the Packers, just how important special teams are, especially in the playoffs. Has there been an increase in special teams preparations?
Yeah, I think you guys have seen it with us. I think our special teams units have played really well each of the last handful of weeks, and I think they've been instrumental in a lot of the good outcomes that we've had. Brandon Powell's big return ends up setting us up to go up 27-3 in that game the other day. Matt Gay ends up responding and knocking the game winner in. I thought our kickoff coverage, was outstanding. And then that punt return unit has done a nice job when we've gotten our opportunities. And I also love the way that, both Ben Skoranek and Grant Haley did a great job as gunners on our punt operation. And so that was instrumental in Green Bay's win the other day, where you saw, they end up getting the block punt for a touchdown, a lot of other plays. But, Richard Hightower does a tremendous job. Known him for a long time. And it's going to be two good units going at it with Joe D and Stukes leading the way for us.
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Gary?
Hey, Sean, with the knowing Kyle Shanahan so well, and with the success that the 49ers have been able to have against you, is Kyle in your head at all, in terms of trying to get past these guys?
No. What I do have is respect for these guys. They've done a great job. You look at it, you got to play well in that 3.5 hour window that we're allotted. You look at the last time that we played them, didn't finish the game, but this is a really good football team. We have a lot of respect for them, but we're competing and preparing to the best of our ability to go out and see if we can advance. But this is a really good team. Kyle's an excellent coach. They got great players, great coaches, good schemes. And so that's why they're in the NFC Championship.
And with all the success Cooper has had and against the 49ers this year as well, do you ever go into a game as the off play caller anticipating that you're going to just get some kind of crazy scheme or a special scheme to control him?
Well, I think it's kind of situationally driven, depending upon, is it a known pass situation? Is it not? There's different instances where that could come up, but that's why you've got 5 eligibles that, the quarterback's got to do a good job, Matthew, being able to recognize the coverage and get the ball where the coverage dictates. And sometimes Cooper's drawing coverage. Sometimes he gets some matchups that we want, but, whether it's Odell, Van from the receiver position, or Higbee or some of our backs, I think Matthew's done a good job of, being able to spread it around and getting the ball where the coverage dictates.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dylan?
Sean, since you guys lost the Super Bowl to the Patriots a few years ago, occasionally Aaron Donald has kind of talked about his motivation to get back to that point and win it this time. Just kind of wondering over the last few years here, have you kind of picked up on that at all? And if so, how have you seen that manifest itself? And, I know kind of back then he was already kind of considered the best player in the game, but maybe in the last few years here, have you seen him add maybe some wrinkles to his game?
I think Dylan, when he's as competitive as he is, he's always pushing the limits. Nobody's harder. Nobody has higher expectations than Aaron does of himself. And so to say that he's motivated to do everything in his power to try to help lead this team to a championship, that's been consistent really from the very first time I got here. And then when you get a taste of it and you're that close, I think that continues to increase the urgency, the awareness of, all right, what does it look like to put yourself in a position? I think he knows what a great challenge it is. You got to take it one step at a time, but he's always adding little tools and things to his game. He's very coachable. He's got incredible football character. His work ethic is second to none, and the ability is so special. And so Aaron is a guy, like many of our players, where I say, hey, you're working so hard because you want to see these guys succeed and you want to do everything in your power as a coach to try to be able to put them in good positions, make good decisions, to help those guys have that success. Because that's why you get into coaching in the first place, to work with guys like him and be a small part of, trying to achieve, some of the goals that you're talking about.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tim?
Hey, Coach, sticking on the Cooper theme, a lot of people will consider him an MVP candidate this year. So let me ask you, what makes him valuable?
Well, I think, obviously the production kind of speaks for itself, but I think it's the crunch time production. I think it's the way he competes without the ball. I think one of the things that you really see is he's a great leader that brings people with him. I think the best thing that you can say about really special people is they make everyone around them better. And Cooper does that. He makes the receivers he's around better. He's so conscientious. He really approaches the game where he wants to know it from an all 22 perspective. I think that's why you see him play so decisive and confident. And he's just, he's got tremendous confidence in himself and his preparation. And then you've seen the production match it, but it's all the things that he does with the ball, but also without it. Every single snap, he's doing something that's instrumental to the outcome of the success of the play for us offensively.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Duarte?
Yeah, Coach. Looking at just the games that San Francisco lost, they got swept by Arizona and Seattle this year. I know some of those games were earlier, but do you look at those games now, or is this team in your eyes just completely different than it was, say, earlier in the season or in the middle of the season when they took those losses to them?
Yeah, I think as the season goes, they're playing their best ball right now. They've done a great job. There's always little things that you look at in each of these games and you say, okay, what's the formula? What's the recipe for success? And in a lot of instances, it's not necessarily rocket science. It's being able to execute, stay efficient on early downs, take care of the football, take it away defensively and get it back for the offense, and, being able to convert on third downs and in the red area. But these guys are a great football team. I think they're playing really well. You certainly look at those things, but you also understand that they're peaking at the right time and they're playing really good football, which has been illustrated, the last handful of weeks.
Kevin?
Sean, I wondered what similarities and differences you appreciate most between these two quarterbacks, Stafford and Garoppolo.
I think with Jimmy, I think they're both great natural throwers of the football. I think, they have the ability to speed up their release when they see things. They play with a good timing and rhythm. I think there's a mastery and understanding of the systems that they're operating with. Jimmy's been in that system for a handful of years, but I can even remember the first year that he got there. Kyle did a great job getting them up to speed quickly, where they end up, winning a handful of games to finish out the season. And Matthew's done a great job in the year that we've been together, being able to kind of elevate everyone around him. So two tough guys as well. I think you see both of those guys stand in the pocket and not flinch when the rush is coming free. And, both great competitors, which is why their teams are in this position.
Do you see a similarity or difference in how they handle that balance between what seems like their natural aggressiveness and the need to play it safe at times?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really speak for Jimmy, but I just know as a competitor, he seems like he's a fearless competitor. He's got, it seems like his teammates love him. He's got a nice, authentic way about himself, just watching from afar. And I know I feel the same about Matthew.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got time for 3 more here, guys. Kurt.
Hey, Coach. Kind of along that line that you were talking about a few minutes ago about winning turnover battles and staying efficient on 3rd down, but also knowing uncharacteristically you guys have lost a couple of big leads in 2 of the last 3 games. When you look at that, is it as simple as turnovers and say efficiency, or would you do something play calling or scheme calling if you were fortunate enough Sunday to have a 2-touchdown lead or a lead?
Yeah, I think you always try to learn from those different situations, especially when you're responsible for some of the decision making and some of the things that we're trying to do as you're operating, particularly whether it's offense, defense, or special teams wise. Kurt, I think the Niners game was a little bit different than the other day. I thought we had some uncharacteristic errors where, we're trying to kind of, Von ends up getting the sack fumble, thinking we're going to be aggressive. We have an errant snap where we turn it over right on the next snap or on the very next play. We uncharacteristically put the ball on the ground, 3 times with guys that have had great ball security. Whereas, the Niners game, probably got a little bit too conservative, some different things like that. But you always learn. There's definitely, I'll never claim to, make all the perfect decisions. But I think the biggest thing that you've heard me say that we've talked about before, Kurt, is the intent right and not just exclusively a result of what the outcome is, but was the process in alignment with the thinking. And, in a lot of instances, I feel like, some of the stuff the other day was, we ended up having to go down to the wire and our guys delivered in a big way. But, the Niners game felt a little bit different than the other day in terms of some of the thought processes behind, trying to close that game out.
You still have top confidence in Cam Akers?
No question. Yeah, I think sometimes if you've got the right kind of guys, like I have no doubt in my mind Cam is, it can just kind of continue to lock you back in, and you can have to you can be able to learn a lesson, but not the hard way where we're not playing anymore.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll wrap up with Bridget and then Nikki real quickly.
Hey, Sean, Kyle was talking about how you guys are so familiar with each other and your teams playing each other for the 3rd time. It's like you can't tell any secrets in this game, which kind of makes it fun. You just have to go out and whoever plays better football is going to win this game. What kind of advantages versus challenges does that situation present?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's about execution. I think the key things that are always instrumental in the outcomes of games are going to be vital. Tackling well, trying to break tackles, efficiency on early downs, staying connected on blocks, being able to finish those turnovers, and then the situational football, whether you're talking about red zone, 3rd downs, 2-minute end of the half, end of the game, those are the things. It's going to be about good, clean, sharp execution. And, I agree. I think both teams, are very familiar. There's good schemes. There's great players. That's why we're in this position. And, let's go roll it out and see who plays the best in that 3.5-hour window and gives themselves a chance to advance.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Sean. Nikki Jeff-Alla from the Washington Post. I think Von Miller's postseason play over the years is pretty well documented, but in the time you've had with him, do you see him kind of, take it up to another level and when the playoffs begin? And has that trade for him enhanced the pass rush overall as you envisioned?
Yeah, he's been great. I've been so impressed with him. It's hard to say whether he's ramped it up or, when we got him, he was kind of coming off that ankle injury, just getting more comfortable and familiar with everything that we're asking. But there's so many subtleties and nuances to his game that make him special. I think he's a great leader too. I mean, he's influenced so many guys in the right way with his consistent positive demeanor, but it's still real and authentic. He's been a guy that's been a part of a run where he ends up being a Super Bowl MVP. And so, he's bringing people with him. I think he's happy here. And there's no doubt in my mind that he has definitely just really increased the overall production of our defense. And he's played tremendous these last handful of weeks.